Hello, Year 7. So we're just going to go through the kind of answers to the 20 questions that I set you last week. So this is your solutions video. So as we can see, it starts with just adding some fractions. Now we've been doing even more difficult ones than these, but these are nice and easy because you've got the same denominator. So once you've got the same denominator, all you need to do is add the top two numbers, and then you're all good. So whilst I get a pen, so you would just do 5 over 8, add 1 over 8, same denominator, so you just add the top two. So you've got 6 over 8. But remember, you can simplify that, so if you half both of those, then you would get 3 over 4. So make sure you've simplified it. So same thing with this one, we've got the same denominator again, so we'd have 3 over 7 minus 1 over 7. So because we've got the same denominator, we can just take away the numerators, so that leaves us with 2 over 7. Okay, next one then. So this one's dividing by 100. So remember, when we divide by 10 or 100 or 1,000, we just have to take it back that amount of decimal places, depending on what we're doing. So if we've got 100, we take it back by 2 decimal places. So we have 1,100. And we've got our decimal here, so we take it back 1, that would be divided by 10, and divided by 100 would be taking it back again. Okay, so we would end up with 11. Okay, so 11 would be our answer. Next one then says 10,000 divided by 1,000. Okay, so this time we've got 3 zeros, so we're going to take it back 3 decimal points. So we're imagining our decimal points here. We go back 1, that would be dividing by 10. Go back another, divided by 100. We want one more. So go back one more, and that would be dividing it by 1,000, okay? So that leaves us with 10 as our final answer. So it says complete 100 millimetres equals how many centimetres? So we've got to know how many millimetres there are in a centimetre, and there are 10 millimetres in a centimetre. So if there are 10 millimetres in a centimetre, we then know that 10 times 10 is 10, so there are 10 centimetres, okay, in 100 millimetres. So that's the answer there. Then it says complete 60 millimetres equals how many centimetres? So I just said 10 millimetres is 1 centimetre. Okay, so if 1 centimetre equals 10 millimetres, in order for me to get to 60, I have to times it by 6. So that means there are 6 centimetres in 60 millimetres. So write in figures 63,509. Okay, so you need to take this nice and slowly. So we've got 63,000, and then we've got 509. And so you just write your 509 below it there. Okay, same for this one. So 500, 7 units, and 9 hundredths. So this means this time we've got to make sure we put them in the correct places, okay? So we've got 500s, and then we've got 7 units, okay? So we've got no tenths in here, so we put a 0 there, and then we've got 7 units, okay? So now we know that we've got no tenths, there's no tenths in this one because that's what happens next, but there are 9 hundredths, okay? So the 9 hundredths fit quite conveniently in that little bit there, so you're left with 507.09. Okay, so the next one is number 9. So we've been doing these a little bit recently with our algebra topic. So this is basically function machines. So we need something times 9 equals 54. Okay, so you can just do backwards. So you do 54 divided by 9, and then obviously that would equal 6. Okay, so then you can test it. Is 6 times 9 54? And if you work it out, 6 times 9 is 54. So again, function machines, we did these together, so we want something plus 6 equals 9. Now this one's quite easy, so you can probably figure out what add 6 is 9. But again, we can go backwards, so we can just do 9, and then we can do the opposite, so we can minus the 6, which would equal 3. So the answer is 3, and we can check it because 3 plus 6 equals 9. So the next one then is a simple subtraction, so we've got 6,971, and we need to take away 6,893. Okay, so we're just going to do that one together. So we can't take 3 from 1, so we're going to have to change that one, and that will have to become a 6, and that will become 11. So that means we're left with 8 here. 9 from 6, oh dear, we can't do that again, so we're going to have to change that to an 8, and that becomes a 16. 9 from 16 is 7, so that's good. 8 from 8 we can do is 0, and 6 from 6 is 0. Okay, so that leaves us with 78 as our answer. Okay then, so the next one, it's a bit bigger, but it's again the same, so it's just a simple subtraction, so we can do that one together. So we've got 17172 minus 6383. Now the important thing here that we sometimes get a little bit wrong is putting them under the wrong numbers, okay? So we need to make sure the 6383 lines up with the rest of our number, okay? So 3 from 2 we can't do, so we're going to have to steal 1 from over here. So that makes that into a 12. So that means we are left with a 9 there. 8 from 6, again I can't do that, so that's going to have to disappear, which is a bit sad. So we've got 16 there, so 8 from 16 is 8. 3 from 0, I can't do it again, so I'm going to have to cross that one out. That becomes 10. So 3 from 10 is 7. 6 from 6 is 0, and then you've got to imagine there's a 0 here. 0 from 1 is 1. Okay, so that leaves us with 10,789 as our answer. So complete the equivalent fraction, okay? So equivalent means the same, okay? So to do these, you have to make sure you know what happened to the top, and then you do the same thing to the bottom. So to get from 5 to 25, I've had to times that by 5, okay, because 5 times 5 is 25. Now in fractions, as we've learned, we always do the same to the top as the bottom. So I'm going to have to times the bottom by 5 as well. Okay, so now I need to do 5 times 9, which would equal 45. Okay, so that's the answer. 5 over 9 is exactly the same as 25 over 45. Now the same thing for this one, but this time the denominator is the one that's complete, so it's 3 and 33. So I need to figure out how did I get from 3 to 33, and I times that by 11, okay, because 3 times 11 is 33. Now with fractions, as I said, you've got to do the same to the top as you did to the bottom, or the other way around this time. So I'm going to times that by 11 as well. So 2 times 11 is 22. So remember, equivalent just means it's the same. So 2/3 is exactly the same as 22 over 33. So complete using either this symbol or this symbol. Okay, so we've got minus 10 on one side and we've got 0 on the other side. Now, I always remember this as a crocodile, okay, and it eats the big number, okay, so you've got to face the open bit of the arrow towards the number that's bigger. So what's bigger, minus 10 or 0, okay, so in this case, 0 is bigger, so we would have our symbol this way round. Now this is the same question. We've got minus 15 on one side and we've got minus 16 on the other. Okay, again, so we've got to have the open end of the arrow eating the bigger number. So which is bigger, minus 15 or minus 16? So we want the one that's kind of getting closer to 0. So it's actually minus 15 because that's closer to 0. Because remember, we've got the minus numbers here. Okay, so that might have confused you a little bit. Now we've got 60 times 30. So this time, nice and easy, we can just do 6 times 3 equals 18. And then we've got 2 zeros here, so we can just add those afterwards, okay? So the answer is 1,800. Same here, so we'll do it nice and simple. 4 times 8 equals 32. And again, we've got 2 more zeros to play with, so we can just add those there, okay? Next one, express 3 over 2 as a mixed number. So we've done a few of these in class, so we've got to figure out, so 2 is what we're splitting everything into, yeah? We want to split things into 2s, so we've got to ask ourselves, how many 2s go into the top number? Now there's 1, okay, so we've got 1 whole because I can already fit 2 of those. I can already fit 1 of my number at the bottom into my number at the top. And then I've got to ask myself what's left over. Well, if I've already taken away 2 from my 3, I've got 1 left over. So I've got 1/2, so it should be 1 1/2. Same for this one, so we've got our denominator is 3, so I've got to ask myself how many 3's fit into my numerator of 11. So I can go 3, 6, 9, okay, so I can fit 3 3's into 11, and then I'm going to have 2 left over, which plonks itself there, okay, so we should have 3 2/3. Okay, Year 7, so I hope that was useful. Make sure you've purple penned your answers to check what mark you got out of 20, and I will be uploading the new questions for you to do tomorrow for next week. Hope you're all doing well.